Hey everybody, I'm in the kitchen today and I thought I would share with you guys the turntable that I've been using over the last few months, what's kind of gotten me back into vinyl, and also share with you guys sort of the find of the century kind of thing, and also kind of talk about using an inexpensive turntable with a high-end cartridge. So let's turn you around and I'll show you. All right, so as you can see, this is the Bang & Olufson Beogram RX2. Came out in '85. They sold them to about '91, so about 6 years altogether. It's a fully automatic turntable, but it does have manual features. It's a very interesting design, very minimalist design. That's kind of annoying in a few ways, which is one reason I sold it on eBay a few days ago, and I thought one of the reasons I made this video. Put on a record. It has an automatic speed and size selector, so if this is pressed down when you hit play, and it's continued to be pressed down, like it would be if you put a 12-inch on here, it'll automatically move in and start playing on 12-inch and at 33. Now, of course, when that happens, like maybe you put on a 12-inch 45, you could hit play and immediately hit 45, and it'll automatically move to the 12-inch position, and, of course, automatically start spinning at 45. Now, if you put a 45 on here, it kind of goes down most of the way, but the mechanism will lift it up a little bit and then it'll pop back down. And then, of course, it'll move into the 7 position, or 7-inch position, and, of course, spin at 45. Now, if you had the rare 7-inch 33, you could do the same thing. Hit play, it'll move into the 7-inch position and immediately hit 33, and it'll play. You could also manually cue it simply by hitting Q. It lifts it. If it's in this position, let's say the off position, and you hit Q, the platter will start spinning and the arm will lift up, and you can kind of manually move it over to wherever you want it and then hit Q again. Of course, at any time during playback, you can simply hit play and it'll move the arm back to the rest position and shut off. And pretty simple. I picked this up at a yard sale. It's kind of the find of the century. I didn't have a cartridge on it. And this arm was way over here. It was actually banging on the inside of the lid. And by the way, the lid cleaned up really well. I got this stuff, it's called Window X. Actually, let me see what it's called. Scratch X. It's a Meguiar's product. I think that's how you say it. But I read a guy talking about it, and man, it really does work wonders. I've been doing about 2 or 3 passes, but man, it comes out phenomenally. It works tremendously well. Really brings back the luster, and also does get rid of a lot of the surface scratches, as you can definitely see. It really came out really, really good. Anyway, there wasn't a cartridge on it, and because of the arm, I thought, well, maybe it would need repairs. I paid 25 bucks for it, and the lady at the yard sale was kind of like, well, I'm not sure. It was my father's. I'm not sure if it works right. And of course, it doesn't have the cartridge. And she said she had thought about keeping it and looked at replacing the cartridge, but she couldn't deal with the cost because these Bang & Olufson cartridges get quite expensive. So anyway, I took it and I thought, well, maybe I can find a used cartridge online for, you know, sometimes you see them go for $60, $75. I thought, well, maybe that'd be something. So anyway, I got it, 25 bucks, took it home, took it apart, started fixing it. And lo and behold, up under this metal platter, there is a secondary, let's call it a sub platter. And under that is basically all the guts for the automatic mechanism, right? And anyway, sitting on top of that mechanism was this cartridge. And this is the MMC2, which is, or was, Bang & Olufsen's one of their top line cartridges for this, for their series of turntables. They had the MMC5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The one, of course, being the super duper. The main difference that I can see between the two, spec-wise, is the one, they both have a contact line nude stylus. The main difference is that the 2 has a ruby cantilever, and the 1 has like a pure single crystal sapphire cantilever. But it's been a great turntable. It works flawlessly, functions well, no issues. Once I repaired it in terms of the arm, basically, and by the way, Bang & Olufsen's instructions for fixing this are kind of goofy. You'd think such a minimal, such an expensive looking product would have more exacting adjustments, but no. literally in the manual for a lot of the adjustments for the automatic start-stop mechanism and all of that, their direct instructions are to, well, stick a screwdriver in it and bend it for this lever. And then, oh, with that lever, you want to stick a screwdriver in and bend it. It's really goofy, and it's the craziest crap I've ever seen, but it does obviously work. And when you make those adjustments, you just got to pay attention to how much you bend things, obviously, and just be gentle with it. But anyway, let's turn you around and we'll talk about what I think about it. So as you can see, it's a basic turntable overall in terms of function. It's an automatic turntable, but it has that really high-end cartridge on it, the MMC2. And if you were to adjust for inflation, that thing today probably would sell for around $800 to $900. And, you know, it's probably the most expensive cartridge I've had on a personal turntable, although I've heard a couple higher-end cartridges over time. But suffice it to say, it really extracts every iota of detail out of the record. And I really feel that's really just that stylus profile. It really gets into that groove really, really well. In comparison to something like this, it's basically a BSR. It has a conical diamond stylus. This is an upgraded one, as you can see, a little basic cartridge here. But in comparison to something like this, you know, you can instantly hear so much more detail, which is why it's kind of changed my opinion. I used to be of the opinion that when you had a turntable, it was the arm and the table itself was what really governed the sound. So if you had a nicer arm, you had a nicer table, it would influence the sound more than a cartridge. Basically, if you had a really super duper arm and you put a cheap cartridge on it, it would make that cartridge into something better than it was or could be otherwise because of the quality of that arm. And I still believe that a little bit just because of Roy Gandhi and his talks in terms of you know, what he talks about and engineering wise and turntables. But this has really changed my mind in terms of having an expensive cartridge on sort of what amounts to a budget turntable. And, you know, it's really kind of opened my eyes and realized that, well, yeah, it'll really, really, truly elevate it. And so it's been an interesting thing. I sold it on eBay. I got a great price for it. I mean, it was one of those things I put up after I'd repaired it and used it for a few months. And I was like, you know, I'm tired of kind of the fiddliness of it in terms of it's a sprung turntable. The platter and tone arm itself are sprung independently of the actual outer chassis. It's designed for isolation, but it also results in kind of a finicky usage. You know, it kind of rattles around, and it's made that way. Nothing's wrong with it, trust me. Also, ergonomically, I really dislike taking records off of the platter. When you take a record off, a record sits basically flush with the top platter. So you basically have to get your nails up under there and touch the surface of the record and stuff like that. And ergonomically, it's not something I want to do or I enjoy doing. And it's even worse with a 45. It's abysmal with a 45, which thankfully I don't have too many 7-inch singles, but it's just horrible. But anyway, I sold it on eBay, got a great price for it. Ended up actually using that money and buying a P3, which I've got coming, Rega Planar 3. So I'm excited for that. But anyway, that's it for now. I just wanted to sort of share my thoughts and kind of share this with you guys. And anyway, take care and have a good one.